Hey, so you guys probably aren't gonna believe this, but it appears Cyraxx practiced some bad cybersecurity, practices or routines, and may have clicked on a malicious link a troll sent him, expecting free stuff or somebody to help him out, or just anything good to come out of this, really. Which I don't know why he would, but I mean, he's known to be gullible, and it kind of paid off. On top of like the second Xbox being bricked, I know the first one they sent him like a USB killer and just told him to plug it in and it'll jailbreak it. And then this time I think they just sent him a controller and then he was just like, "Oh my god, free controller," and then plugged it in. But they hollowed out the controller, took out the PCB and replaced it with the USB killer and then just attached that to the Xbox controller's wire. And that bricked his Xbox again. And then somebody sent him memes, and then another person, I don't know why, but they helped him restore his bootloader and like reinstall Windows. And I kind of hate those people because you know what he uses like any electronic device in the internet for, like very, very immoral, illegal stuff. But you kind of got to appreciate those people because like the occasional people that do help him out and give him good advice, it makes him easy to open up to the people that are just going to wreck his shit. And then somebody made him download a thing for his like BIOS, like a UEFI update file, but I guess it was like a custom one or a corrupt one because all it did was just brick his motherboard. And unless it's an expensive motherboard that has like instant flashback, he's never going to figure out how to resolder like a new BIOS chip on there. So effectively that motherboard is toast.
It just hang on. Just give it a sec. I hope we didn't fuck it up. I think we fucked it up. I don't know. But as you can see, no signal. It is. Yeah, yeah, I do. It's off. Fuck. Yeah, they placed a kill in the goddamn thing. Oh wait, maybe not. Yep.
And honestly, shout out to Inward Boy for making it all possible. I wouldn't have even thought to try like half of that shit because I assumed, oh, well, he plugged in one bad USB and it cost Sally $500, so he's probably gonna be wary and see if like trolls are trying to tell him to do malicious shit. But I mean, anything is possible in the world of Cyraxx. Like, I know he's gullible, but like, I didn't think that you just have to politely ask him again and he'd just kindly ruin his electronics for you. I know there's a lot of stuff to go over. Like, there's been so much stuff happening back to back. Like, 2 weeks ago, his Discord got hacked, and then the Xbox getting bricked for the second time, and then his PC getting a virus, and then somebody restoring his bootloader, and then somebody, making him wipe out his whole BIOS and the motherboard's bricked. And then also him leaving YouTube, which is, I mean, he'll probably come back or be discovered on an alt account in like 3 days anyway. I'm going to talk about all of those in more detail in like a separate video that's probably going to come out a day or two after this. I just kind of got drugged down a rabbit hole because like naturally I just controlled F and looked up Wilkins in the Facebook logs. And I mean like I had to just see the context behind it and how things got to the way they are. And then once I kind of knew and then saw like how his last interaction on the internet went with the Cyraxx community and how they all just called him a grifter and annoyed him until he deleted his channel. It was also interesting to see like how he was even involved in Cyraxx's life because I mean I read this message and I just had to look into it and then I didn't even get to read any of the other messages because it ended up pretty much becoming like a 40-minute long Gordon documentary because there's so many like you know lines to fill in within the blanks that are left in the interviews that he has with Music Biz Marty in the wiki in the 2 hour interview that he had with Mass Troll Mafia or Mass Hole Mafia, whatever their name is. And it actually puts a lot of stuff in the context and perspective, and I figured I might as well share it because there is some stuff that like isn't there on the wiki and that might be good for archival purposes. Like one day when we're looking at Cyraxx going back and we need like a specific detail because he's one of the most relevant locales in past history. And unlike people like Christian, who pretty much since like 19 when he was right out of high school, and then he started his college love quest that got him like flamed on 4chan, and people have been following him ever since. The thing about Cyraxx is he was born in 1990, so like shortly before the pandemic, like probably just a couple months, maybe even after, I can't remember exactly, but he was around 30 when Music Biz Marty started putting him on panels and, you know, exposing him and telling the whole world about like the shit he does behind closed doors. And it is pretty interesting to see that he's just always been a degenerate and he's always been this way and he's always been like lazy and spiteful and arrogant and hateful. And it may sound a little bit inconsistent because I was recording this over a couple of days, mostly late at night, and I had to completely restructure this video because I figured it would just be me like laughing for 20 minutes at some cringy Facebook messages, but I control F and looked up Wilkins and I couldn't even get past the first one because it was so interesting. So I'm redoing the intro at the beginning now, so sorry if I sound tired or dead during some of the recordings and the rest of the video. I just didn't expect to be drugged down a rabbit hole and for this to be turned into like a pseudo documentary. But I mean, it's not really like professional at all. I just figured a lot of this stuff would be interesting and might be good for archival purposes, so I might as well share it. With that all out of the way, and without further ado, the Gordon Wilkins arc. So good old Gordon Wilkins messaged him starting with Chauncey, which is that his full name? That sounds even stupider than Chance. Bro's Chance the Rapper with only one P. But anyways, he's been saying, you don't get it, you have been lying for years about Ginny and I. So yeah, he's known to like lie about his family because he lives in a fantasy land, but Sally isn't helping, which he does say. Or he doesn't blame Sally, but he says you have been fed a ton of BS and he doesn't have any friends or ever leave the house, so he's just inside with Sally all day. But yeah, anyway, he's saying like the N-word usage is bad, your music isn't even that good, and you're delusional if you think you're gonna get millions of dollars, and you're always lying about how cool you are and the experiences you went through on the internet, and like eventually you need to actually learn some skills because if Sally dies, you're gonna be on the streets and life is actually gonna be tough. And then he also tells him to quit picking at his head and in his pants, which it's funny. Even his father, or not his father, his like almost stepfather by proxy. I'll explain it a little bit who Gordon and Ginny exactly are. But like even he is like, God, he's just so disgusting. He like reached out after all of these years just to tell him to get a grip. And also apparently he's in cahoots with some like African biker gang. So I mean that's pretty cool. I didn't know, like it's literally called the Zulu MC. I always thought that was a slur by like English fucking colonizers in like the 1700s. I didn't know that was like a cool word. I don't know, I'm not an English major, but I always just assumed it had like a bad connotation. It'd be like naming yourselves the Any Motorcycle Club or some shit. Okay, I just googled Zulu MC and they are 100% aware because, I mean, if you thought the Washington Redskins logo was bad, bro, just Google Zulu MC. It's like, what can I even say? Also, he says he has the money to like purchase the rights or to like file for the rights for the copyright of Cyraxx and get all the money and royalties for the merchandise, which I don't know why he didn't do. That would have been genius because, I mean, we all know Cyraxx didn't fucking bother to do that. Mostly because it's not even his name. It's like an artist name that he stole from somebody that used to be his friend. And then at the end he says, so glad you're not a Wilkins. Change your last name Hoodrat. And I can honestly understand with this guy because the thing is, if you guys don't know, Gordon isn't Cyraxx's father, Neither is he his stepfather, and Sally isn't his mother. I'm not sure exactly where Gordon is from because there's a lot of records because he goes around state to state all the time. From the age of 18, according to his interview with Marty, he's been in the military. He's claimed to have had 4 wives. Jenny, the woman that Chance was supposedly lying about, according to the beginning of his Facebook message, is also his 4th wife. Sally is his 2nd wife. He may have been married to a woman named Denise in Ohio up until about 1992, and then for whatever reason that relationship ended. Sometime between then and 1994, he met Sally, and they were briefly stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana, in Vernon County. They would be around here on one of these streets, but you can't even drop a pin in here except on this desolate highway. This must be where they like keep the fucking top secret military spy gadgets at. Also, I don't want to give his whole life story, but this is important for some context. Cyraxx was born in Alaska to his parents Rupel Mark Smith and his mom Connie Lobdell. Also, the wiki says he was born at 16 weeks of gestation, which doesn't seem right. Like, I know he's Cyraxx and he like looks and acts the way he does, but I found this quote from Mr. Wilkins.
His biological mother got pregnant with him too early. And he was born, I think it was like 15 weeks premature or something like that. He only weighed like 1 pound, 15 ounces when he was born.
And a pregnancy can last around average from 37 to 42 weeks. So most likely he was born 16 weeks early, not after 16 weeks, which would mean that he would be born after 26 weeks of gestation. So it could have just been a typo, like a transposed number. But either way, being born 16 weeks early meant he'd have to be on oxygen for a couple months. Chance's mother wasn't properly able to take care of him. I tried looking up why. All it just says is vaguely like her mental condition, like she was unfit to take care of him, at least on her own. And I think she had another kid. So Cyraxx had a biological older brother that got taken by the state of Alaska. And then it seems around 1994, when his father would go to prison, the state would finally also take him to Alaska because they said his mother was too unfit to take care of him. Oh yeah, and the reason why Rupel went to prison, just think of the most evil, heinous thing you can imagine. Okay, have you thought of something like genuinely like evil, disgusting scumbag shit? Have you thought about it yet? Okay, well this is probably worse. On July 26, 1994, Rupel Smith was following and stalking a 14-year-old girl on a bike trail, and then he, subsequently ambushed her and assaulted her. In that way, the worst way. She picked him out of 2 photo lineups out of 6 people both times. And you know how they even, confirmed his identity from the police sketch to get him to come in for the photo lineups?
Situation was the news was putting out sketches of him, and
he called up and said,
"Yeah,
you guys are circulating this sketch. It looks like an even. It's not me."
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
Brainiac.
Wow, and if you're not pissed off already, well, his reasoning gets even more out of the box.
He asked a question or whatever about, it was a 14-year-old girl, and he said, well, how many 14-year-old girls do you know with double D's?
Yeah.
That shouldn't matter.
And it's like, wow, what an unfortunate set of circumstances. And I can almost see why Cyraxx is the way he is, because it's just in his genetics. I mean, you still can't blame that. It's still this shit he does is all his fault. But you can see why he's the way he is. At the time when Gordon was just Rupel's father-in-law, he had no idea who this guy was or what he was into before that whole court case. And they were already pregnant, and he would initiate the marriage, not realizing he would create the most cursed timeline to ever exist.
You knew Connie, right?
I knew Connie. I didn't know Connie well. Put it that
Yeah.
way. I had met
Very
Connie
silent.
uh, for a short period. Matter of fact, I officiated the wedding
Wow.
between Rupel and Connie.
So you're at fault for this whole shit show.
Oh yeah, you can call.
Oh, okay.
No. She was
No.
already pregnant. She was already pregnant when they got married.
Well, you know, he's been told he's been at fault 100
Oh
times.
yeah, I'm at fault, man.
I honestly still think even if Cyraxx was in the state of Alaska's, possession, he still probably would be like a deviant and a pervert. That's just who he is at heart. And we wouldn't be able to get like the timeline of events where he links up with Music Biz Marty in the ICP chat room or whatever. So you really do gotta thank Gordon for all of the, hours and hours of content and raging and, freaking out and leaked DMs that we can see on the internet. Sally talked about in passing what happened with Chance and that they might adopt him, and they talked about it a couple times, but they never agreed on it, or at least Gordon didn't. And then I'm pretty sure it's once Rupel got arrested, that's when Sally drove up to Alaska just out of the blue and adopted Chance. Sally would move to this peaceful looking rural house in Washington, most likely so it's close to the Canadian border, so she could drive up to Alaska more conveniently than it would be in any other state aside from Alaska. By the way, this house, I'm not going to say it, but it shares the same 3 numbers inside of that address as there are in the one in Akron. It's longer than 3 digits, but those 3 digits are in there. So maybe Sally could have saw that when she was deciding to move to Ohio and it reminded her of that house. It is just a weird coincidence. It's like God was foreshadowing the tale of events that is about to occur. Gordon was still active in the military, so he could have still been in Louisiana while Sally moved down here, and then shortly moved down here after, a year or 2 after. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they lived together at that house, and there's a chance Sally might have lived at this house across the street briefly, maybe while Gordon was in Louisiana. Or maybe some punk kids could have smashed her mailbox and she needed to use the neighbors across the street for the mail or something. I don't know. It just seems absolutely pointless to move across the street, so this could have been an error on the record or something. I'm just pointing it out. Could be a possibility. So it seems Gordon, comes back to Washington after hearing about all of this and now has to deal with this disabled 4-year-old that's not his, but he still tries to make it work and tries to play the father role for a couple of years. He doesn't just walk out and is some deadbeat like Cyraxx claims.
But I traveled with her, spent a lot of time in the car with her, spent a lot of time in the car with Chance, and
You just had enough of it.
oh yeah, I was done. And I'm the first one to admit it. I was done. So when got the out, I took it. Right, wrong, indifferent. If I was wrong, freaking sue me.
Yeah, it's your choice. You don't have any.
Yeah.
It's not your kid. You didn't have any talks with Sally, and I guess she just adopted him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost like not. I'm gonna say under your nose or behind your back. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't behind my back. I knew she was doing it, and I said, okay, well then you're taking care of it. And I tried to treat him as I tried to be a dad to him, but I never had a connection with him, because I always, for me to go down and see him in the hospital when he was in the hospital for 4 months or 3 months, however long it was. He was born in September. I don't think he came home till January. It was like pulling teeth to go down and see him. I get drugged a few times, but wasn't my forte. It wasn't where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So there was never really a connection there,
So Gordon never planned on having kids, went above and beyond and tried to raise Cyraxx for Sally, but just deemed that he was unfit to do it. But at least he tried. And then he would move to Polk County, Florida, which he would deem to be God's paradise because it was a great spot for hunting and fishing, which is just his lifestyle. When he wasn't deployed at some military base, he would usually be hunting or fishing or just doing something outdoors. He wasn't wanting to like sit there and work a 9 to 5 and go to school meetings and try to raise this kid.
We had a lifestyle. I'm an outdoorsman. Okay.
Yep.
I love to hunt, love to fish, everything else. I was in God's paradise. Okay. I was in God's paradise as far as hunting and fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And Sally was also, she would hunt and fish. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the type of relationship I was looking for. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So when all of a sudden the ordeal happens with Chance or Patrick or whatever, Cyraxx, whatever he wants to call himself.
Sure.
I told her, I said, I don't want kids, man. I don't want to be tied down. I want to, be able to hunt and be able to fish. I don't want to have to revolve my stuff over school and all that because I had no kids.
Mm-hmm.
My bloodline ends here. Ain't nobody else. God looked down. He said, we ain't doing that again.
It's kind of unfortunate because we do need more people like God on this planet. It's kind of like reminding me of the movie Idiocracy, where the numbers of smart people gradually fall off because they think about the logistics of raising a child and how that would affect their lives, and then the stupid people just put no thought into it and they just pop out kids one after the other.
We were guardian ad litems in Polk County, owned our own business. So when he comes on here and he starts ranting and raving and calling me a piece of shit and everything else, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm doing fine. I tried to do what I could do for that little peckerwood, and
like all indications are that you're upsetting people. I don't think anyone will question that. There's no reason.
And then Gordon would move to this place we'll just call God's Paradise, probably to get away from Sally and Chance, because what reasonable human being wouldn't want to do that? And that is a nice place. Who knew God's Paradise would be hidden in like rural Florida in plain sight? And then Sally moved here, which is like 40 minutes away. But then she moved here, which is like 20 minutes away. That's some crazy dedication. Although maybe just could have been due to the rent, because looking at it, this is exactly what I imagined in my head when I think like Central Florida. Maybe she did move across the literal street in Washington and she's gonna move like 15 minutes down the road. Or it could be in reverse order, because there's no date on there, just an address. At least I'm not getting basic things wrong like the wiki is. I mean, Gordon literally said at one point,
me up, man.
Yeah.
You can run a background check on me. You can do whatever you need to do.
Better get off fax it too.
I had top secret clearance in the military. So, okay.
So in Florida during this time, after Sally moved down there, he would be the guardian ad litem. And he would basically be like the legal guardian when Sally couldn't take care of him, when she was either like at work or just unable to like have the time to take care of him or get a babysitter. Like he was just like the backup, which I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I don't know, I've never had to deal with that or any like court proceedings, but that's going pretty fucking above and beyond for a kid that's not even yours, that you didn't even agree to adopt, that you're to a woman you're not even married to. But according to Cyraxx, he's like a drunk old piece of shit that just walked out of the door one day and then abandoned them. And then in 2010, I believe, could be before that, but the earliest I see is 2010, Sally and Cyraxx would move into that infamous place in Akron, Ohio that he's known for today, that he'll probably never move out of until Sally dies, and he'll either go into like assisted living from like adult protective services or whatever, or he'll go homeless. Because I mean, like, he would fit in perfectly as like a Walmart door greeter, receipt checker, or like a bagger at a store or something, like one of those just simple manual labor jobs that are just like 99% tedium. They want people that don't require much stimulation to remain happy all day, that aren't that high functioning, and he would fit right in. But the thing is, he kind of ruined any chance of that because he's always screaming the N-word, and there's so many times that DMs leaked where he was talking to a child decoy that said their age clearly. Anyway, sometime after divorcing Sally and moving to Florida and meeting Jenny and doing the whole camping trip with Chance in 2014, Gordon may have been married to a woman named Carrie who passed away, who was his third wife. And Cyraxx, for some reason, always blames Ginny for, like, being a homewrecker. But he was married to somebody else, like, right after he divorced Sally. It may not even be Carrie, or the name of the first wife, Denise, may not even be correct. But he does seem to have a habit of letting his wives fill out info for him. He did the same thing with Sally and Ginny, which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. He was constantly at military bases, doing stuff for his job. So it makes sense he probably didn't have a lot of time to go into town and file a bunch of, like, paperwork and just let his wives do it for him. So that's why I'm assuming that that's the names of his first and third wives. They could be completely different people, but it's not really important because the whole point was the Sally marriage is just like a blip in his whole life. It's not like he had this first marriage and it was going to be until death and promised to build a family with her and was married for decades and decades. Like, this was just a couple of years and then she randomly decided to adopt this kid because, like, her son had a kid and he was a huge sex offender, and Connie, his mother, may have been too young, or either way may have been, like, not mentally capable to take care of a kid, which is probably, like, the only way that Rupel was even able to, like, get a woman.
And the fact of the matter is, neither you nor Michelle had any kind of allegiance to him or Sally. You guys had broken up. You were divorced. You were literally just trying to help him and give him, show him a little bit of love, and that's what he does. And he was a man that is supposed to be.
Yeah, he's
24 years old. That's insane.
Yeah, 24 years old.
I want to bring up this really quick, Southern, which I was in hysterics when he called me a home wrecker.
Yeah.
Because he's talking in this video about how he had abandoned them and whatnot, and I'm a home wrecker and whatnot. Let me give you the time space here. The timestamp is this. He was married to Sally. They divorced. He got remarried, and she passed away. And I am the third wife. So
actually, my fourth, but
there's one in between.
There's one in between Sally and her. There's one in between. So she's the fucking homewrecker.
Yeah. I'm thinking you can't blame a dead woman. So you're
going to figure that one out. Okay.
I thought, well, shit, if I'd have known that, Christ. I had that kind of power.
Sally would reach out to Jenny sometime in 2014, and she had no idea who Sally was or who Chance was, and that's probably how she was actually able to successfully, like, coerce her into, like, feeling sorry for them. Because, I mean, I'm guessing Gordon just, like, stopped responding to anything involving Chance, so that's why she had to reach out to Jenny in the first place. And this camping trip would ensue, and it would quickly remind Gordon and show Jenny exactly why they hated Chance.
The one and only time I talked to Sally through this whole
rigmarole
clusterfuck that she arranged to bring that little peckerhead down to my house.
My bad.
Now, this I'm saying my house, it's our house, but to bring that little peckerhead down, she did that behind my back.
I did, because I felt sorry for the bastard.
Yeah,
I didn't know 75,000 people hated him.
Yeah, she didn't know. She didn't know the scenario and the backstory and all this shit on this little prick. So anyway, she brings him down.
It's funny because Mark tried to warn me.
Yeah, people even tried to warn her.
Mm-hmm.
The camping trip was 7 days long and pretty uneventful, mostly because Chance was on his phone the entire time and didn't really even want to bother talking to the people. And then Gordon said when Chance got there, he made him a lobster dinner, but Chance only ate one lobster and barely ate anything on the trip. And years later, Chance would be saying all over the internet that Gordon starved him during the whole trip and didn't stock his fridge, which doesn't even make sense, because I feel like that would be a hassle for Gordon, because, I mean, he'd be the one living there. And then at one of the restaurants that they went to, Gordon would buy Cyraxx a beer, and keep in mind he was 24 years old at the time, and then Cyraxx would turn it down, and then later he would try to say online that, Gordon tried to drug him or trick him into getting wasted. The trip was so uneventful that Cyraxx would have to lie for people to pity him and for him to sound cool, but don't worry, he would make it interesting himself just because he's Cyraxx and how stupid he is. He would scroll and see a photo from his aunt on Facebook with a picture of her kids and her dog that says, "I have died and gone to heaven." And he would immediately take it at face value and assume that it means that she died. And Jenny was there, Gordon was at work, and Jenny was trying to reason with him. She's like,
Heaven.
Now, the first
And-
problem with that, even
Well-
the statement, I've never known anybody to die and come back and make a Facebook post. But that's just my theory.
Yeah, I don't think anyone like makes Facebook posts from heaven to earth. Yeah.
No, I look at the post and I tried to explain to him what she meant by it in case he didn't understand. And because I'm thinking at this point, 3 fries shy of a Happy Meal, it's came out of this joker. I am fucked. That's exactly what came to mind. As soon as he came off the couch with that, I just thought, oh God, I am so fucked. And so I told him what was going on. And he looked at me and he says, "You just don't want me to go home." I said, "Listen, you little bastard, I don't give a shit if you stay. I don't care." And he just kind of looked at me. He was like, you hate me and I got to go home. My family needs me. My aunt's dead. I'm like, she's dead. Let's go back and replay this one more time because this train missed a fucking track. So I go ahead and explain this to him again, and he just goes ape shit. And he had bowed up on me, and I thought, okay, you're going down like a little fucking twisted pretzel, you little bastard. Wrong girl, wrong day. And go ahead.
Yeah, so was this like that first night or the following morning?
Following morning.
The following morning.
Oh, yeah, you were working, right? Yeah. So
I had to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
so you get called home to deal with.
She called
Well,
me.
before that, he bows
Okay.
up. He bows up on me,
Mhm.
and I thought, oh God, here we go.
Because she didn't know him. All
Yeah,
she
I
ever done
know.
talk to him on the phone.
So I had no idea what he was capable of. And when he went to bow at me, I turned him around and walked him straight out my front door and told him, "You sit there until your whatever he is to you gets home." And I made him sit outside. Now, mind you, it's 82 degrees on any given afternoon in Florida. And this is in the morning. So at best, it was about 77 in the morning. So he's sitting out on the steps and he's banging at the door. "Let me in or I'm going to piss on your door."
What?
And I'm like, so at this point, I knew I was screwed. And I would just walk up to the door. Now, mind you, I had not locked the door when I walked him out.
So you could have just opened it.
He could have just opened it, yes. And
Yeah.
I called Gordon and I told him, I gave him the rundown. I told him, I said, "You need to get here now." And we only lived about 15, well, we still
20
did,
minutes.
at best,
Yeah.
from where Gordon was working at the time. And he gets home, and that's when you had encountered him at the front door.
Yeah. I come home and he was standing outside.
eventually Gordon would de-escalate this, or Chance would have just gotten tired and then calmed down, because he had to drive like 20 to 30 minutes away to get back to the camp from his work. Or he just saw Gordon pull up and realized, well, if he lost that fight and got thrown out of the door by Jenny, he'd probably get his face pummeled in by Gordon. So he quickly calmed down, due to like self-preservation. But eventually, Cyraxx would just be such an arrogant, lazy slob that it would be enough straws on the camel's back, and eventually Gordon would just snap and then kick his ass out. I'm surprised he even put up with it for that long after Sally went behind his back and messaged Jenny and told him all of this out of context to make her feel pitiful. He's probably like, fuck it, I guess I'll have to show her firsthand what Cyraxx is like, because she won't believe me if I describe Cyraxx. He just sounds so cartoonishly like despicable and so gross that you would think that he's just lying his ass off if you just describe Cyraxx to any random person out of context.
We had come home and he had come in and he took a shower. And when he took a shower, he come out and
Oh, he was forced to take a shower.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it wasn't on his own.
Well, he wasn't forced, but he was told every day you're gonna wash your ass, take a shower, take a shower, take a shower. Even when we were camping, because we had a shower in our camper, take a shower. But anyway, we got home. He gets out of the shower, and my wife walks into the bathroom, and all of a sudden I see a rug come, and our bathroom is very small. This rug comes flying out of the bathroom, and it's fucking soaking wet.
And I hit the washer with it.
And I look up, and I knew what happened. And Chance had come in, and he laid down on the couch because he had a rough day. He had a rough day at the camp when we was breaking down camp.
Yeah.
He worked hard. He worked very hard. He did tell us
he wasn't feeling well, and that was his reason not to help.
So anyway, we get home. He's laying on the couch, and I get up and I walk into the bathroom, and I walk back out, and I was like, Chance. He was like, what? I said, get your ass in that fucking bathroom, and I said, clean that fucking mess up in that bathroom. There was water all over the floor, fucking towel laying on the floor, shit like that. Okay. This 24-year-old kid, man. Okay. Nah, that shit ain't happening in my house, man. I'm sorry. It ain't happening. So I had his ass go in there. He cleaned up his freaking mess. He come back out, and I'm sitting at the table and I'm drinking a beer because we got home from camp, drove 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
I was sitting on the couch and I'm drinking, or not on the couch. I'm sitting at our kitchen table. He's laid back down on the couch. I'm sitting there drinking a beer, and I'm fuming. And the more I'm sitting there, the madder I'm getting. And the more I'm sitting there, the madder I'm getting. So finally I looked at him. I said, Chance. He said, what? I said, sit up. I said, sit your ass up. He sat up on the couch, and I looked at him. I said, you know what? I said, I have come to the conclusion in the last 3 days that you are the laziest fucking white boy I ever met in my fucking life. And he looks at me and he says, and that's my problem. Why?
Yeah.
And what was said after that, I don't really know.
Because it was game on.
It was game on at that point.
I can tell you
and,
exactly.
Well, hold on. And I go into his ass, both barrels, and Jen called. She looks at him and says, you know what? You're a fucking deadbeat. And he looked dead at me, and he pointed his finger at me, and he says, you're a fucking deadbeat. Pointing at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you little cocksucker. I'm going to fucking slam you. I walked in, I fucking snatched him off the fucking couch, and I put him against the fucking wall. And I was like, you little motherfucker, open your mouth one more fucking time. And I said, I am going to drive your teeth through this fucking wall. Do you understand me?
I bet he got real quiet.
Well, he got quiet, and then he started running his fucking gator a little bit more. And then next thing I know, Jen, he fucking started to bow. And next thing I know, Jen's coming over my back, and she's fucking going after him. So I didn't get a chance to whip his ass because I was keeping her from whipping his ass, which I should have just let her whip his ass.
Well, when I had my hands around his throat, the only thing that kid could say is, you broke my necklace. Bitch, you're lucky I didn't break both your fucking arms.
Mm-hmm. So when...
Excuse my
finally,
language on that
that's
one.
okay. That's okay.
And it was like, you know what?
Passionate.
Get the fuck out of my house, man. Get the fuck out of my house.
And I was like, come on, he was a kid back then.
And it's no. But the only conversation I had with Sally was the night I threw his little scrawny ass out of my house and down on the street. Was she called me and she says, oh, Red, we can work this out. And I looked at the phone and I said, work what out? I said, there's nothing to work out. And I said, and furthermore, I don't owe you or him a motherfucking thing. Have a good night. Don't drink and drive. And I hung the phone up.
And that was the last time.
And I never spoke to either one of them again. So, no, I would never threaten to fucking shoot Sally. No, what the fuck, little man?
Exactly.
I mean, we all know that. Everybody here watching knows that.
Oh, wow. So here he is. Do you mind if I let him up?
I'll let him up, man.
Let's say hello.
All I gotta say to the old man, is that mom did not coddle me. No, shut the fuck up, Jenny.
Fuck you.
My mom did not coddle me. She protected me from becoming a piece of shit drunk like your bitch ass motherfucker. Hey, old man, why don't you shut the fuck up, man? That all you are is a piece of shit. You're a loser. Look at you. Look at you, old man. You're a fucking loser.
So what makes him a loser and you not a loser, Chance? Explain that.
Yeah, you know what? I am a loser, dude. I am a loser.
We lost you.
I am a fucking loser. You know.
You, the fact that you had the balls to sit there and talk shit about your family. You're a piece of
What
shit.
family? You ain't my family, dude. You ain't my family.
Thank you, Marty. We don't want to listen to
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
fuck you too.
Take care.
That's as
Don't
high as
drink
you
and
can count.
drive.
Mhm.
Don't drink
I
and
think he's
drive.
muted himself.
Hey, old man. Instead of having you, old asshole, man. Honestly, bro. No, shut the fuck up.
Hey,
Hey, you sound like a retard. Fuck you. Fuck you. Everyone, Jenny is a piece of shit. What Chad says. Hey, old man. You so there and go fuck your mom, you old man.
Hey.
Whatever.
and who's afraid?
I'll bring him back. That was fun. Let's
After shoving him out the door, this would be the last time Gordon ever saw Cyraxx. He didn't drive him back to Ohio or nothing. He isn't even sure how he got home. He could have walked from Florida to Ohio, just how he planned to walk from Ohio to Kansas. We're not sure. But yeah, he pissed them off so much he didn't even bother looking outside again once he saw him in his driveway. I'm assuming Sally probably drove straight down to Florida, like a 10-hour drive, and picked his ass right up and then went right back to Ohio. I mean, it's Sally. It's Cyraxx. He doesn't have any friends, and we all know for sure he doesn't have a job, so it's not like he got a $500 Uber, however much it would cost to go from halfway across the country. Now, I'm not wishing bad things upon people or anything, but damn, if only Sally's car has failed to start that one time and she couldn't go pick him up from Florida, if the transmission blew up or something and it would be a multi-day repair, and then she'd be like, oh wow, I don't have enough money to house this goblin, now that I gotta fix my car. That would be perfect, although the main concern would be he'd be homeless and he might find or buy a cheap Obama phone or something and get some data on it, and then nobody would be there keeping an eye on him, so he'd just be free to do the things he does online, which aren't very good. Anyway, fast forward to 2023, late November 2023, we get that long multi-paragraph heartfelt message from Gordon, and all he says is LOL, whatever dude, get lost and get wrecked, asshole. And then fast forward 2 months later, January 2024, he said he filed a defamation lawsuit against Cyraxx and announced it on his family, the Real Wilkins family channel. But then a bunch of the viewers just started accusing him of grifting and trying to chase clout off of this. Which, he didn't even know that Cyraxx was famous until people tried to hit him up and interview him and ask how Cyraxx is the way that he is. And then he had to go out and only did these just so he could clear his name. But people just kept calling him money hungry and that he was just grifting, even though this guy is literally retired and basically spends half of his life out camping in the woods or fishing. So I don't know what he would need much money for. I think he just genuinely was offended to have this goblin degenerate share his last name and bring down the value of his family name, even though he has 0% DNA shared with him. And then eventually I think he just got too frustrated of people not understanding why he'd be so pissed off at that Cyraxx just exists and lives the lifestyle he does with his last name attached to him. Honestly, that would make me hate Cyraxx a lot too and make me want to sue him. And I think he just got so pissed off because he was constantly telling people, calling him a grifter to fuck off. And he just deleted his YouTube channel because he's I'm assuming he's probably just oh, they think I'm just doing this for attention. I'm just going to delete the channel because money and attention wasn't what this is about. If anything, he wants less attention on himself. And he was just okay, well, best course of action. I've already told my whole story on these interviews, and they know my side. I had nothing to do to make him like the way he is, and I probably shouldn't, keep making content online, because that'll just link me closer to him. Which is honestly a smart idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, and now you know why Cyraxx is officially not a Wilkins. And leave a like if you are also a level 400 dark magic practicing goblin slaying wizard. Oh, and please subscribe. It's a new channel. I used to make a lot of slop commentary, but I tried putting a little bit more effort into this one. So if you want more vids like this, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you.